going to be doing another book video. I love to read, and even if it's a book that I'm not enjoying, I take pride in finishing a book. If I start something, I want to see it through. But there have been 3 books in my life that I've ever given up on, and I want to talk to you guys about it today. And I also want to mention a book that I recently finished that I just absolutely, I can't decide if I like this book better or all the Lord of the Rings books, and that's saying a lot. First book I had given up on is The Virgin's Lover. I read it about 2 years ago and it just never caught my interest. I read about halfway through the book and I just couldn't get into it. Every time I put the book down, I didn't care to pick it up again. Books that I really enjoy, I don't even want to put it down in the first place. So this one, it took me about 2 weeks to get halfway through, and it wasn't even good, in my opinion. I know a lot of girls really like this author. I haven't read any of her other books. Quite honestly, I'm not that interested in checking them out. I couldn't relate to a single one of the characters, and I think that was the problem. This book I had given up on is called Lucretia Borgia and the Mother of Poisons. Now this one sounded really interesting. I read the back cover of this book. It seemed to really captivate my interest. I read about 3/4 of the book and I thought I should just finish it because I'm more than halfway through, but it was just kind of painful to go on, so I just ended up putting it down. It's a very typical story, a murder mystery. They're trying to get to the bottom of it, to save this woman's reputation and to find out what really happened. There's some romance and drama involved, but I guess I don't have patience for mysteries. I've never gotten into any kind of mystery books. I didn't like the lack of vivid description. It was hard to picture what each character looked like or sounded like. They did some pretty detailed description in some parts of the book, but most of the characters, I couldn't give them a voice in my head. So if I couldn't feel like I connected to the plot and the characters, I can't read the book. So there's that one. And the most recent one that disappointed me, I actually did finish. I pushed my way through this one. It took me a month to get through, and I never take that long reading a single book. It is The Mother of Pearl by Melinda Haynes. I was so mad at this book. I mean, at some point I just wanted to rip my hair out because I was debating back and forth. Should I put it down? Should I keep going and finish it? A lot of people were telling me to just stop reading it because it was making me so angry. This book is about 500 pages long, which is not very long for a book, but if it's not interesting at all, it's like slow torture getting through it. I first picked up this book, I read the back cover, and it sounded really interesting, lots of controversy and a lot of drama. But it only describes 2 characters in the back cover, and in the whole story there isn't one main character. There's about 5 or 6 characters in this book, and not one of them gets more attention than the others, so I don't know why they wrote the back cover the way they did. The stuff they talk about on the back cover, it's just so misleading. They make it seem like the entire book is about Evan and Valuable, but it's not. They are the most interesting characters, I guess, but they don't get enough time for them to talk about them like they're the only characters in the book. So it was misleading. I could see a lot of people getting into this book. It can be very meaningful. It reminds me of a story. It reminds me of the kind of book that I would read in literature classes back in high school or even in college, because there's so many ways to analyze and interpret these characters that it can be pretty interesting. But for me, it wasn't a fun read, and I like to read for fun. I want to talk about a book that was recommended by a YouTuber. Her username is Books with Court. I will link her in the information box below. She does a lot of excellent book reviews and book hauls, and recently I came across a video that she did where she talked about Ice by Sarah Beth Durst. And oh my goodness, you guys, this is so good. There was not one point in this book that I felt bored and I needed to put it down and rest or anything like that. It was just so good from beginning to end. There's a lot of vivid description, and the way they describe Bear, his size, his speed, the color of his creamy fur, and the way Cassie is dressed and the way she's feeling all the way through the book. It's very clear, and it makes it so much easier to bond with the characters. I feel like I really bond with Cassie. If any girl in this world could fall in love with a bear, it would be me. I love bears. I mean, Courtney talked about the fact that this girl falls in love with this bear, like really in love with him. I went to Borders and I had to find this book, and I got the last one. I was so excited. I finished this book in a couple days, and it's about 300 pages, but it is a really smooth, easy read. This is a young adult book. Readers, young people like it, older people like it. It's all around a great book, and I would say Ice is very magical. It's very beautifully written. It's a fun read, and it makes you think in a more spiritual way. So if you've read any of the books that I mentioned today, please leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts on it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!